and beyond. I'm Chris Allen. Thanks for tuning in. And what we've got going tonight, the first thing I'm going to have you, I guess, pay attention to is that some cold air is coming. And you may be saying, really? Really? You don't say. I mean, today felt like it was like around zero. Yeah, we had some pretty frigid wind chills, especially this morning. Boy, it felt nasty. But we've got some fairly cold air coming. Now we're going to have these kind of, we're going to go up one day, down the next, up one day, down the next. It's that same irritating pattern that we have had over the last several days, actually, the last several weeks, if you want to know. And we're going to continue to have that, but the overall trend is going to be colder, and you can see it right there. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. And as you can see, we are trending colder, colder than normal. Now, normal high, normal high, this is not my normal voice. Normal high is 46, okay? Just to give you an idea of what we hit today, 39. 39 was the official high temperature at the Bowling Green Airport today. Despite having sunshine, it was a north wind that just kept us really, really chilly. So even with the sun being out today, we could not even hit 40 degrees for a high temperature. 39, 7 degrees below the average of 46 or the normal. Now the low was 32, so there was only a 7 degree difference between the high temperature for today and the low temperature of the day. And I can tell you that it's going to be colder tonight than it was last night. So let's get to it, and let me show you not only this temperatures, but let me show you precipitation, because that's also key to my forecast going forward. And there you see, a little drier than normal. So, with colder air in place and drier than normal precipitation, where are all these forecasts coming from that are blowing up social media with, look at the snow that's coming? OMG. And I touched on this last night. And let me tell you, uh, do I need to really spell it out? Do I really need to say where those things are coming from? More on that in just a moment. Let's get to the current situation. It is cold. Look at this. Temperatures right now as of 6:45 on this 11th day of January. You've got upper 20s, near 30, but high temperatures today have been, shall we say, very cold. It felt colder than the air temperature because our temperatures did make it into the, as I mentioned, upper 30s to low 40s. More so in the low 40s back into western Kentucky. Okay? But that really doesn't tell the story. The low temperature this morning was, well, actually, it's our current temperature. Now, it was 32 for an official low at the airport right here where I am in Bowling Green. But now, within this 24-hour period, the colder temperatures are now showing themselves. And so the low temperature officially for today Once we get past midnight and look back, what we're getting right now are the coldest temperatures of the day. You see what I mean by this? Midnight to midnight. So from midnight last night up until they took the official low temperature of the day, it was 32. But now the low temperature for the day before midnight is going to be in the 20s. So that will count as the new low temperature for the day. And on top of that, as I'm about to show you, we had some peak wind gusts today. Look at this, 30 miles per hour plus. And that's right here in Bowling Green. Wind gust of 33 miles per hour. Well, that produced a nice little wind chill. Look at this. It feels like it's in the teens and 20s, and it's felt like that pretty much all day, right? If you were out at all today, it felt like that. And let's check precipitation. Now, even though this is showing, well, there wasn't really much of anything, you go way up here into north central and eastern Kentucky, there was these little snow squalls that came through. And some of them were kind of like, if you were in these parts of Kentucky, you were like, it's coming a big snow. But then it turned out to be not much of anything. It was a little bit of snow, and it came down hard for some of you. Some of you looked out your window or as you were driving maybe to church or whatever, and it's like, oh, they didn't tell us about this. Well, actually, last night I said there would be a little bit of snow, but that's all it was. Now, it looked really impressive when it was coming down and it was going sideways, and it kind of looked like, whoa, this is going to be a big deal. But then it went away, and it's not a big deal. So really nobody picked up anything of significance as far as snow with those little squalls that came through this morning. Now, this is not indicative of what's coming, but it's like it we okay. Let me just you'll see what I'm trying. I'm hesitant only because I'm trying not to be emotionally attached to those out there who are hyping up the forecast, and they're doing it for a particular reason. You know how I feel about this. But yes, they are hyping up the fact that there will be snow, but they're not they're not really telling you the whole story. And that's the thing. So yes, there is snow in the forecast, but I'm going to explain why these kind of things that they're putting out there are not exactly the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's partially the truth. And again, I'll explain. All right, let's get to it. Here is a look at the current map situation with high pressure in control. Here's Bowling Green, southern Kentucky. There's the departing little snow showers from this morning. Now, tonight's just going to be cold, clear and cold. We're going to get down into the 20s. We're already there. I don't think we'll get any colder than maybe low 20s, although there could be some locations, especially off to the north, say up toward Louisville, Frankfort, Lexington, Cincinnati. Yeah, maybe. Hills and valleys over in eastern Kentucky, upper teens, possibly. The flow is going to be more west, northwest, but the winds are going to calm down and become near zero or calm tonight. Light and variable by in morning, because then the winds, look at this, by 6 a.m. in the morning, you're going to start to at least have more of a southerly, southwesterly draw that's going to come in. And that is actually going to warm us up for Monday. Here's Monday, midday, high pressure still in control, winds kind of west southwest, but they may become breezy a little bit later in the afternoon, but only about 10 to 15 as that warmer air tries to work in. Here's 6 p.m. Monday evening. We're still looking good. You know, there's no systems close to us. High pressure in control. That's why there's nothing showing up on the maps. But as we start to get toward the middle of the week, we see signs of change. Now, here is that southwesterly flow. Notice that the isobars, the equal lines of air pressure, get closer. You're right. That means it becomes breezy. Now, on Tuesday, we're really going to warm up. We're talking about mid 50s, maybe close to 60 in a few spots, and a breeze that is coming out of the southwest at 25. Wouldn't surprise me if we even get up to 35 miles per hour. Why? Because, well, there's a pressure difference between what's going on with a low pressure system that's way up there around Lake St. Joseph. Yeah, that's way up there. Okay? So it's drawing this little trough. You can see it here, the little bend in the air pressure. That's a trough. It's a long wave trough. It's pretty long. It extends from Canada all the way down into, well, you see there, parts of New Mexico. It's a long wave trough. It may be depicted on some of the maps as a cold front. Cold front, it's a long trough, okay? It's a disturbance that's going to work its way through on Tuesday. Now, with the breezy conditions on Tuesday, it is going to get warmer, as I said, mid to upper 50s, possibly even close to 60. But then, oh, I knew it would reset on me. There we go. So every few minutes, this thing goes back to the beginning and resets. I don't like it, so I have to reset it. So here we go into Tuesday night, and here is that trough picking up on a little bit of moisture. But look, this far north, look how warm it's going to be. Even in the Great Lakes, you have to go all the way to northern Michigan and the UP, or the Upper Peninsula of Lake Michigan, before you find any snow. But even there, it's a mix. It's a mix. That's a decent low, 992 millibar. But look, this is a much warmer flow, and even this front, this little trophy thing, begins to fall apart. So on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, yes, there could be some light rain. Could it end as snow? I don't think so, Wednesday night. Now, I know that the middle of this week, but more so the end of this week, is where the hype casters are taking this and going, snow. It's going to be a big snow. It's coming. Big snow. Big. Look at all this snow. And they take the deep blues and they color them in and get you all excited. And oh my goodness, we're going to track this all week because it's going to be a big deal. I have a little problem for them. First of all, they're using what's called the GFS model, and most of these guys are putting up GFS models, which is the old American model that is becoming very outdated and very unreliable. Every once in a blue moon, it like a broken clock. It gets it right twice a day. Kind of the same thing. So the more reliable, newer, I hate to say it, but European models, I'm going to show you that. But the inconsistency of the GF models, the problem with it is that one run, it'll show something. Oh, look at this, big, big. Next run, it takes it away. Then the next day, it'll put it in, then it'll take it away. It's never consistent, and that's the biggest problem with the GFS model. Okay, here we are, 6 a.m. Wednesday. You see the trough coming through, rain, Wednesday morning. All right, breezy, yes. Good chance of rain, but now, is this going to end as snow? Well, now this is Wednesday night into Thursday. It is going to get colder. Winds will start to come in from, as you see here, the north, and pretty tight gradient. So we could be looking at some breezy conditions as we head into Thursday night this week with a little touch of snow. Just a touch. But it doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a deal, and it's going to fly by pretty quickly. All right. So now we get into Friday. Colder air, somewhat colder air has been established. Thursday, we're looking at maybe like today, only in the 30s for highs, and then low 20s for lows that night into Friday morning. But look what happens. Again, here comes a shift in the wind right after we get one of those little troughs or dry, almost dry clipper systems, but this one wasn't completely dry. So it was a clipper system that had limited moisture with it. And here comes a shift in the wind again to the south and west on Friday. Then we get into Saturday, and look, it shifts again. And then as we get into Friday night and Saturday, after highs in the 40s, we do drop into the 20s, and another little piece of energy slides by the Ohio Valley and produces maybe some light snow showers. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be, I knew you'd reset again on me. It doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a deal. This is Saturday morning. And by the time you get up Saturday morning, this thing will be over in eastern Kentucky, and then here's next Sunday. It's all east of us. And look back here. Look at this warmer air coming in a week from now, or just after next Sunday. And look at the flow west. Then it's going to go southwest. So to the ones that are really putting all these maps all over the place, and I really don't care who they are. They're going after the clicks, likes, and shares. Okay, and it's working because people are sharing it, and they've been sharing it with me. Hopefully, none of you. Let me see. Let me look who's here. Let me look who's in here with us. I'm scrolling down through your names here. It was none of you. Okay, so you're safe. This is my audience here that good. Most of you are like, no, we understand. But to the ones that of course I'm overstating it just a little bit. But there are those that come to me and say, now, Chris, why are you not talking about this big snow that's supposed to come this week? And it's going to be really bad. It's going to be big because so-and-so put it on social media with the maps and the deep blue and the dark and the snow, and it's got us all covered in the blue. And why aren't you doing the same thing? Because it's just not accurate. That's why. And I'm explaining to you, if you'll listen, why. Okay, enough drama. Let's go on to the European model. Here we are with our trough currently over the area, which is departing. It's, you know, cold air is going to retreat pretty quickly starting tomorrow. Look at this warmer air. Isn't that something? We go from a day feeling like the wind chill was probably zero. It wasn't, but it felt like it. And then look at this big ridge of high pressure out west, keeping the warm air to the north of us. This is tomorrow. And then getting into Tuesday continues for a little bit longer. Now, there are, you see this low pressure system right over the Great Lakes. Yeah. And again, I showed you 992 millibar. It's pretty stout. And the winds are pretty stout too. The winds are going to be rather stout as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, even look where the warmer air is coming in, and you can see the little bend here in the isobars, all nice and packed together here. Well, that's the cold front as it's going to make its way through. So Tuesday, we will start with temperatures warming up into the 50s, maybe even close to 60. But then as that little cold front comes through, and this will be really Wednesday night even, that's when we get the colder air taking over. And you can watch it here on the European model. Look at it. We get a little bit of rain. Yes, this is Wednesday. This is actually Tuesday evening into Wednesday. And you get this rain. But notice the rain snow line stays well to the north of us. And what we get is rain. This would be Wednesday morning to Wednesday midday. Then comes the colder air, but still not cold enough to change things over to snow. But as some of that colder air starts to spill in, you see it here. As we get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning, well, there might be, some of this. You see it there. As the cold air comes diving in, yes, then there could be this little bit of a changeover. But look, this is nothing. I mean, it may be like some of you saw today with those little bursts of snow, those little snow squalls that happen for a little bit, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be huge. You can't even see anything out there. You can't see to drive. And then all of a sudden, it's gone, and the sun comes out, and you're like, what happened? It's going to be like that. This has nothing that shows any kind of classic big snowstorm kind of deal. Again, like I've told you guys, look, if you've watched me for a while, when I give this hand gesture, or the modern day version of that is 6-7, it's going to be 6-7. We're always on the fence. It's never going to, hardly ever is it going to be one way or the other. It's going to be right here. It's either going to be too warm to become a big snow, or it's going to be so cold and dry that we don't get much of anything out of it. And this is a case of warm and dry. Look at these high pressure centers. Look at that, 1,027 millibar. Look at this one out west, 1,036 millibar. That's some high pressure. High pressure. It's going to be dry. That's going to be hard to overcome. So yes, as you see here, as we get into Thursday, maybe Thursday morning into the midday, there might be in the Great Lakes and in parts of the Ohio Valley, including Kentucky, it could get cold enough for some flyby flurries or kind of blow away snow. That's not going to be that much of a deal. So When you see these people posting these hyped up maps showing the really thick blue colors and deep blue colors over Kentucky, and oh, look what's coming. They'll even try to do a little comparison, GFS to this model or that model or whatever. They'll show the ones that will get your attention. Don't believe it. Okay. Right now, it doesn't look like that big of a deal. Just because the blue is painted over Kentucky does not mean it's going to come a big snow. Now, the bigger deal I think you need to pay attention to this coming week is the cold and the wind. That is really going. This is Friday. Actually, this is Thursday night into Friday. Look. I mean, we're going to have temperatures that will struggle to get out of the 30s, and then lows really diving down into the 20s on most nights. But here comes Saturday, and it's going to be even colder than that as we head into this coming weekend. Look how far south. Oh, this reset on me too. Wait a minute. That's a new run. Let me back up. I want you to look how far south. Watch the blue line. That's the cold air, rain, snow line. Okay, there's your rain on Wednesday. Here comes a little bit of snow on Thursday. And then look at that. Look at the dive and how far south that cold air plunges. Look at that. And it's on the backside of this low pressure system that deepens 992 millibar. That's getting stronger low pressure system. And so look at the dive here. Wow. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, panhandle of Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia. Oh my goodness. That's cold. That far south, there's going to be people putting on big fur coats in the panhandle of Florida by Thursday. It's going to get that cold. So that, to me, is the bigger story. And then as we head into the weekend, as I mentioned, it's going to stay cold. Now, there's going to be right here comes another little low pressure system over the Great Lakes. But look, 1002 millibar, not that strong. Winds are going to pick up, of course. But look at all these little pockets of snow showers. This is Saturday. Actually, Friday night into Saturday, we could have some snow flurries. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. And then in the upper flow, they just keep coming. And look at this high pressure. That's fairly strong high pressure, 1023 millibar. So it's the flow, the upper flow is very cold, very Canadian, polar Canadian air. And again, look at this dive all the way down to the Gulf, pretty much. And that's going to mean that this coming weekend, next Saturday and Sunday, are going to be downright cold. You've been waiting for it to get cold. It's January. Well, this week is going to prove itself to be cold, and even into the following week, cold. All right. Here we go with the model blender. Now, the model blender is one of those things that we like to look at and see how things transcend, go up and go down and go up and go down as far as temperature. Now, there is, though, kind of a leveling off here of some of these numbers. So like tomorrow, as I mentioned, we do go mid to upper 40s. And then we go, look at this, we jump 10 degrees on Tuesday. That's the warmer air that I showed you coming in. So upper 50s to near 60, but then we go back down. So we go up, we go down. We go up, we go down. Then we really go down. This is that polar dive that I showed you, that trough coming in on Thursday into Friday. Look at the high of 31 and a low of 20. And then we go back up into the 40s, but then we go back down into the 30s and down and down. And look at these lows, 16, 18. This is Saturday and Sunday. That's when that really big polar dive goes all the way to the Gulf. And then maybe by the middle of next week, we see some recovery into the 40s. So, I mean, from this perspective and from everything that I'm seeing here, we are talking about the pattern being very erratic and, again, on the fence. Yes, we could see some snowflakes, and I think we will a couple of times this week and the upcoming weekend. But as far as it being like big snow, no. We're on that fence once again because of where we are. And even though the polar air dives really far to the south, the overall trend that I showed you from the very beginning is that it's going to trend drier than normal. Yes, colder than normal, but drier than normal. So that means we're going to get cold, yes, but there's not a lot of moisture to work with. And so for that reason, I do not see us getting big snow. Plain and simple. This is not hard to figure out, but some of those people do make it that way and get you all worked up and ready for, oh, we're gonna go out and play in the snow. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm always the bearer of bad news, right? Well, listen, if some bad news weather comes your way, wouldn't you feel better? And I'm going to see how you feel with some of your comments here. So hang on. Wouldn't you feel better to know that you've got a generator that will automatically switch on when the power goes off this winter or this spring or the coming summer? You know, we're going to be in this erratic pattern for weeks and months to come. I think that's pretty obvious. You're seeing it right now. I don't think that much is going to straighten out, not at least in the short term. So wouldn't you like to have a generator that kicks on seconds after your power goes off? And it doesn't matter if it's from wind or rain, heavy rain, or thunderstorms or snow or ice. It just kicks on. It knows to do that. Well, R&R Controls is the Generac dealer for this area. And they're authorized to not only sell and service your Generac generator, but they do the installation. They come out and they take a look and they figure out what you need, small or big, it doesn't matter, home or business. They've got a Generac generator to fit every single need. And Generac is the number one name in generators. So why not think about getting one? Tomorrow's Monday. They'll be in the office and you can call them and have them come out to your place and they can tell you what you're going to need. Specifically, they'll tell you what you need. And if you need financing for it, they'll tell you how to get that for it too. Easy to do. 270-777-2024. Simple number to remember. 270-777-2024. Or you can go to rnrhvac.com, because with R&R Controls, you'll never be without. All right, let's get to some of your comments here. Let's see. Let me start here with K. Will we get enough snow to make snow cream? I want some so badly, lol. Okay. No. The answer is no. Next question. Uh, no, I really don't think that we're going to get enough out of these little systems that are coming through this week or next weekend. There's not going to be enough to, it's just not going to be enough. I'm sorry. Here is Sly Fox 4569. Only in Kentucky could you go from shorts on Friday to sweatpants. Wait a minute. Shorts on Friday to sweatpants on Friday. Yeah, you're right. We kind of did, but I mean, it's Kentucky. I mean, it is exactly the truth because it's just, again, it has a lot to do with where we are. We are due north of the Gulf, where there's usually warmer waters and that moisture comes north. And then even when cold air hits, some of that moisture, where it's like, I don't know whether, you know, this storm I want to be rainy or snowy, or I want to be snowy or icy, or I just want to just not be much of anything. And sometimes when we don't get a potent enough system coming through, even though there might be moisture by the time it gets this far north, there's not a lot to work with. So we're always kind of left with usually without those big snows. Here's Diane. I can't wait for snow. Had flurries in Clinton County today. Yeah, that was it. Just flurries. Linda Clark thinks like to froze walking into church this morning, or I guess that's what she means. Burr. Yep. It was rough. Um, Here is Angie. I want snow. I know a lot of you do. Um, Carolyn. My weather app says a dusting to an inch of snow. Okay, Carolyn, I'm curious. What app are you talking about? Is it the Weather Channel? Is it AccuWeather? Is it just the one that comes on your phone? Is it weather.com? Is it weatherchannel.com? Is it what? I mean, I need to know which app it is. Um, so the thing is, and this brings up a good point because some of you will have an app, a weather app that comes on your phone, and usually the default is the Weather Channel app. And, while they do have some level of accuracy there, you got to remember the Weather Channel is in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where they operate from. And yes, they do have a whole bevy of meteorologists and they have a whole bunch of people kind of across the country, but they're in Atlanta, Georgia. And sometimes that tends to bring them at a disadvantage of knowing exactly how the weather is going to behave where you live, where you live, and where you live, and where you live. And because you live around here in the 270, they are not in the 270. And so sometimes, as well as they mean, and they have the technology and all the fancy graphics and everything, and I'm not knocking them. I don't want my buddy Jim Cantori to watch this and go, Chris, God, well, come on, man. Because he and I are good friends, and I would never say anything derogatory about the Weather Channel necessarily. But here's the one thing to understand: are in Atlanta, and I am right here. So after 40 years of living here and watching the weather behave or misbehave, so to speak, I think I have a pretty good idea of how this works. Okay? Either you trust me or you don't. Are you going to trust an app from somewhere else? I mean, everybody and their family is coming up with apps. Today you can create your own app for your little weather enterprise that you've got going, your little weather business that you've got going, that you name so and so Weather Central. And it's like, but who runs it? Who's the name behind it? And it's like, I just don't trust them. And now that social media companies are paying them for how many followers they have, well, then, you know, I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them. Let's see here. So we have Ann, who's watching from Columbia up there in Adair County. Thank you so much. Let's see who else we got here. Here's Cheryl Ann watching from Franklin. Thank you. Here's Patsy Gillenwater from T-ville. Or as the locals say, they either say T-ville or they say, yeah, I live over home. Over home. If you hear somebody say that, yeah, I live over home, it's Tompkinsville, T-ville. I like to call it Doveyville. Dovies. I could use some Dovies right now. It's just too far to drive, and they're already closed at 7:22. Here is Leanne. Hi from Glasgow. Thank you, Leanne. Here's Barbara from Glasgow. Thank you for tuning in. Here's Monticello. Heather. Thank you. She's in the 606. Really? That's not 270, but I always say and beyond. If you're in the 606 or the 615, it's okay. Yeah. All right. Here's Carolyn, she was talking about the app that said maybe up to an inch of snow. See, it didn't take me long to kind of guess what app she was using. AccuWeather. Just because they have a name called AccuWeather doesn't mean they're going to be accurate. And I get it wrong every once in a while, but just saying. Okay. All right, that's all I have time for because it's coming up on 7:30 here on Sunday night. You know what that means? It means I got to go to Betty Bye because I get up at 3 a.m. in the morning to be on your TV, News 40 Sunrise at 6 a.m., then News 40 at 9, and News 40 at noon, 3 times. I'm on every morning, Monday through Friday, to give you the latest weather. And I'm sure because I'll have some other data coming in, and we'll take a look at these little chances of snow that we're talking about having this coming week and weekend. So, in the meantime, thank you all for watching. God bless you. Love you. No matter what area code you live in, you're part of my family, and I appreciate it so much. Have a great Sunday evening, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless.